Are you starting a YouTube channel but don't have the budget to get all the gear necessary to do so? Well, good news is this. You've got everything you need to get started right here in the palm of your hand. You know, with phones having HD cameras, some amazing apps, and literally being connected to YouTube at your fingertips, you've got everything you need to get started right here. In this interview with Dee Nimmin, smartphone creator expert, we're gonna be sharing our top tips on how you can not only start a channel on YouTube, but crush it on this platform. You know, one of the #1 mistakes people make when they first get started is gear and workflow fatigue. And what I mean is you've got your camera, you've got your accessories, you got your SD card, you got your laptop, you got your software, right? And that's after you get it all, or you spend all that money. Then you get into actually creating content. So you have to get your SD card into your converter, plug it into your laptop, you have this software. Well, guess what? That is the workflow and gear fatigue that I think is one of the biggest mistakes beginners have when they first get started that you can avoid if you just get started with your phone first. So in this interview, we'll be sharing our top tips, our favorite apps, and accessories for your smartphone content creation coming up.
YouTube Secrets is out now. Learn the strategies of today's top video influencers in this step-by-step YouTube success playbook. Get your copy today at tubesecretsbook.com.
That's right. Welcome to Video Influencers. And we're here talking to Dee Nimmin. This is going to be revolving around smartphone accessories, tools, like tips, best practices, our favorite apps. Dee, what's going on?
Hey, Benji, how you doing? I'm honored to finally be on Video Influencers.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
For sure,
Thank
and
you.
we're honored to have you here. And you and I have both talked about this. Obviously, this is what you do on your channel. But smartphones are so ridiculous in terms of its technology and everything. And we're going to be diving into why it literally not only is a game changer, people should take it more seriously. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I am Benji Travis. This is Video Influencers. Let me introduce Dee Nimmin to you if you're not familiar already. So Dee has an amazing channel where he talks about smartphones, the best apps, content creation tips. You know, he's talking about different accessories that are basically game changers to our industry. Shows you a lot of examples of what smartphones can do. He's got an amazing channel called Dee Nimmin. Go check that out sometime. We'll put the links down below. But Dee, let's get right into the nitty gritty. Why are smartphones so ridiculous and why people kind of underestimate the potential of them?
People underestimate them because it's only a phone. One of my top comments that I get on my channel, people will say, Dee, I only have a phone. Is it good enough to get started on YouTube? And I think we need to rethink about what we think about a phone. A phone is what your grandma has, right? A phone is what your grandmother has. These are smartphones. They have cameras. They have excellent microphones in them now. You can edit your video. You can make your thumbnails. You can shoot slow motion. You can do time lapses. You can do everything that you need with this, and it fits in your pocket. So people need to have a mind shift that you don't need big, expensive gear. Now, you can upgrade to that later, and it serves its purpose depending on what you're shooting. But to get started on YouTube, this is all you need these days.
Absolutely. And, we're going to talk about some amazing apps, but YouTube has YouTube Studio. And that app is amazing for controlling different things on your channel. You can actually switch out your thumbnails with that. You can look at your analytics. But even the YouTube app itself, when it comes to actually uploading to YouTube, you can do everything on your app and go live, which we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I agree, there's just so much you can do. And I talked about it in the beginning, the gear and workflow fatigue. By the way, that's not something that I've heard a lot of people say, but it's a reality, right? People are, number one, they're waiting to buy all the right gear, all the right accessories, when you don't need to do that. You can get started right away. And then secondly, there is a learning curve to creating content when you're doing it the old school way of using your camera and the different software and then uploading to YouTube on your desktop. And then even like things like SD card and batteries. Have you ever recorded and the SD card wasn't in there, or the microphone wasn't working? Well,
yes, it wasn't plugged in, right?
Yeah. All that doesn't happen on a phone. It's right there. It saves it right to the thing that you use to upload. And what I love is, maybe you don't even want to edit. If you are good enough to prepare what you're going to say, and you've got the chops, and you're very familiar with the content you're speaking about, you can just record a clip. I know YouTubers who only use their phone, and they just record, they stop, they use that the file without any kind of editing. They upload right to YouTube. Are you familiar with any content creators like that, Dee, or other channels that are great examples of it?
I don't personally know anyone who can just hit record and knock out an entire video.
Yeah.
I would love to watch that happen, but I've heard they exist. I've heard that Peter McKinnon can nail it in one take, but I haven't seen anybody to do that myself.
Yeah,
but you can.
Yeah, there's a channel I want to show, actually. If you can pull it up as a visual, type in John Kohler. So John Kohler is a gardener on YouTube. I'm pull up, but in addition to him, there's other creators who they just are so passionate about what they're talking about, and they have so much experience recording videos. They just use their phone to upload, and some of them have like tens of millions of views. So it's obviously, something that people are doing. And
Tai Lopez.
Tai Lopez.
Tai Lopez is good at that. He's great at that, actually, now I think about it. Yeah.
And so if we got John Kohler on, let me know. The name of the channel is called Gardening Your Greens, or Growing a Garden. If you type in John Garden Channel on YouTube, he literally just records his videos in one take. He does a quick intro. He goes right into the content and then just ends it and rarely edits it and just uploads it. All right, but let's get into some best practices here. What are things people need to consider when they are going to create content on their phones? And what are kind of like your tips for people who could literally get started today?
Yeah, well, the first thing I want to let you know is that your phone is not a crutch. It's not holding you back. It's not going to stop you from getting views. It's not going to stop you from getting noticed. It's a tool. A DSLR is a tool, and you can spend $3,000 on it, or your smartphone is a tool. It's how you use the tool that matters. What you need to focus on is becoming a better communicator. You need to focus on being a better storyteller, or getting better at telling your message, right? Sharing your message with the world. That's the stuff that really matters. So when you're thinking in terms of, I only have my phone, you need to stop thinking about that. And one little thing that I wanted to tell you about in terms of when you're shooting yourself with your phone, and I know a lot of people like to use the selfie cam, the front-facing camera on the phone. Don't look at the actual screen. You want to look at the lens, because what's going to happen is your eyes are going to shift off, and you're not going to make the eye contact with the viewers. And that eye contact is really important. So don't make that little mistake.
Absolutely. That's a good point. I mean, that's something good for anybody, because sometimes people look at their LCD screen on their cameras, and that bugs me. It really bugs me. And so the reason, it's not like I'm judging you for looking at yourself or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, you're trying to frame yourself up. The reason is because you're not making that connection. And so what's amazing about social media generally, but especially YouTube creators, is you're speaking to that person that's watching that video. So if your eyeballs aren't there, look, this is different. So right now I'm looking at my confidence monitor versus looking right at the lens of the camera. It makes a huge difference. Now, even the slightest little move, you can probably tell that my eyes aren't looking at the lens right now.
Right.
Exactly. So
Mine
that's
too.
a good point. Another thing I would tell people is, if you had to invest in something, or at least consider when recording content on your phone, is stability. So what a phone doesn't have that this guy has is image stabilization. Now it does, but it's different, and it's not as solid. I use a G7X Canon G7X, right? And it's got great image stabilization in the camera itself. This phone also does, but nowhere near that. And the way I get away with that is making sure to put it on a tripod. We're going to be talking about another accessory here soon, or just putting it on a shelf. And you know what my tripod is most of the time? This little pop-up socket. So I have it positioned in a way where I can lay it on the shelf and lean it. So depending on the angle I want it, I can just have it shooting me. And secondly, I don't even use the selfie camera, Dee. I use the actual camera on the backside. So that's why this makes even more sense. And I'll record content for my vlogs oftentimes on my phone. That's a big deal, especially with phones like the iPhone 11, which I'm definitely going to upgrade to. The content's ridiculous. Well, anything you would want to add to the whole stability and if you invested like a tripod?
Yeah, so if you have a newer phone, one of the flagship phones, say from Samsung, like the S10 or the new S20, that actually comes with image stabilization. So does the new iPhone 11. It's not, I mean, it's not the best image
Hmm.
stabilization, but it's pretty good. But one thing you can get a tiny gimbal. You can get gimbals these days that cost around 100 US dollars. They put your phone in there. They're 3-axis gimbals, and they make your footage cinematic smooth. That's what cinematic smooth footage, right? They
Yeah.
do this with a gimbal. It's kind of like what Hollywood uses, but at small scale. So that's one thing that you can do. And Benji, you mentioned using the back of your camera.
Yeah.
You mentioned using the actual
Yes.
widescreen
Yeah.
or the wide camera.
Yep.
So here's something that you can do is if a lot of people are concerned that they're not going to be in the shot. And if you don't have a phone with a wide angle lens on it, you can buy a lens to put on your
Yes.
phone. And when you turn it around, I guarantee you're going to be in the shot because it's going to widen up. It's going to make everything wide, and 100% you'll be in the shot. So if you want the best quality view, best quality lens, get one of these, turn it around. You 100% you're going to be in the shot.
Oh, totally. I've been using those wide angles even before the phone days. I remember on some of my cameras, you could put aftermarket lenses right on the top of the lens and make it wider. And the reason you
Right.
want it to be wide is what he said, so you could get everything in the shot. See, that's what my G7X has over even my phone, is the fact that it gets a wider shot, so it looks more
Right.
vloggy and looks it just looks better. It fits if you have the right kind of lenses. And we're going to talk about all those gear that we love and the accessories we would recommend a little bit later. But I'd say the last thing I wanted to ask you was probably the most important question I'm going to ask you on this broadcast. No pressure at all, but it's very polarizing. Are you an iPhone guy or an Android guy?
I am now an iPhone guy.
What?
I started off on Android.
Okay.
I started off on Android, and I just thought it was the best thing ever.
Yes.
My girlfriend had an iPhone, and it didn't make sense to me, but I started off on an Android. And then when I was starting this channel out, Nick Nimmin, my brother, he bought me a gift. He said, since you're starting a YouTube channel about mobile, I bought you a gift, and he bought me an iPhone 7. So I'm like, I really don't want I don't want an iPhone, dude.
That is so
I'm thinking to
funny.
myself, I'm thinking you wasted your money. But then after about 2 or 3 months, I absolutely just fell in love with iPhone. And now I'm all on board with iPhone now, and iPad and all of it. I still use Android for my channel. I do tutorials with an Android when I need to. But for personal use, I'm using an iPhone.
Well, welcome
iPhone
to
11 Pro.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the club.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, let
Yeah.
us know in the comments area. Are you a iPhone fan or are you an Android fan, and why? I personally am also an iPhone, but I got the iPhone in 2007. I went from the Nokia 3390, which is the most ghetto, blocky Nokia phone from back in the day that I had for about 5 years, to the iPhone. And that's why I've just stuck with it, because I just didn't want to learn a whole new user interface. But the one thing I will say about Android phones that's completely relevant to what we're doing right now is the cameras oftentimes can be even better. For whatever reason, they're releasing some ridiculous things on Samsungs and just Android phones in general. Even Huawei, I know that they're not very popular here in the States, but like in Asia, they're huge, and their
they're
phones
huge.
are amazing
Yeah.
too. Any other phones that you like that are game changers that people should consider, even if they're expensive, because I know they can get pricey?
I think if you have the budget, you're not going to go wrong with getting a flagship phone from any of the major makers. I think you're not going to go wrong there. But if you are on a budget, get whatever you can afford, because at the end of the day, I'm going to go back to what I said when we started this off. It's not about your gear. It's about your story. It's about your message. It's about you being a communicator. So get whatever you can afford, because the important thing is you hit record and you make that first video and that second video and that third video. Nobody's going to ever question, oh, you made this on an older phone or a budget phone. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Absolutely. And in fact, you know what? That's a great segue to, I think, one of the topics that people really are looking forward to hearing is, what are the best accessories? Because what I'll tell you is most phone companies these days will give you a free phone, right? Or give you a pretty good deal on a leasing plan. And you can really spruce up your phone with some dope accessories. Now, the whole point of this is for you guys to get started and not feel you need to buy anything. But if you had to spend money, these would be the first accessories we would buy for smartphone content creators. And I want to actually give you guys my first accessory that is literally my favorite, and I have it in my bag over there, but I know Dee also has it. It's the Mi Photo, the Mi Photo tripod
360
phone holder.
360 sidekick.
Yeah, why don't you show it to us and tell us why you love it so much?
So first of all, Benji, you were the one who turned me on to this. You had turned me and Nick both onto this at VidCon 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yes.
We had breakfast with you and you had this, and I just thought it was the best thing. Amazing. It was amazing because you can use it in landscape mode, or you can spin it around in the back and you can use it vertically. It has a bunch of threads in here so you can hook microphones up or external lights. And I've connected mine to a switch pod, which is how I hand it, or how, my handle for this. It's an ergonomically correct tripod that opens up. This thing is absolutely amazing. So the two of these together, absolute win. Thank you, Benji, for the recommendation.
You're welcome. I always forget that I was the one that told you, but like my team found mine here. And so again, look how I'm using this. I don't even have the switch pod. By the way, I think the only downside of the switch pod, it doesn't have a swivel head. And so this does swivel. They do have a new accessory. I know they have a add-on, but still, this is all you need. And because it has a flat platform, you can set up onto shelves. I use it all the time. What I love this for is for time-lapse shots, D, because you can say you're on the fly. I don't like to have all my gear, and I know that you take trips sometimes and you just bring your phone, but if there is one piece of gear I just swear by, it is this little accessory, because I can fit it into my pocket if I had to, but in any bag that I have, whether it's a duffel or sometimes I have a fanny pack, I'll bring this, and then what I can do is I can set it on a ledge to get a sunset time lapse. I can use it for meetings. I oftentimes when I have conferences. So this is beyond content creation. I'm just talking about the practicality of it. Sean even uses this sometimes, and you could watch. I mean, I'm going off on this as if like I'm trying to sell it, but I'm telling you, it's the greatest thing ever.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Great. Yes.
So that's the first thing I would recommend. Anything else you would recommend when it comes to the tripod side of it, or the carrier?
And in terms of how you carry it and that sort of thing, there's all sorts of different devices you can get. Joby makes some that the Gorilla style grips that they move and they can wrap around things. These are pretty good. I mean, really, it comes down to whatever you like, whatever you think is going to work best for you. I fell in love with the switch pod. I have two of them. One of them actually has a ball head on it, so I can get that swivel action if I want to. But use whatever you want in terms of a mount or something to hold your phone with. Awesome. And I want to mention one more thing, because we were talking about quality before. And one thing I didn't mention is that with your phone, they have little sensors inside of these. So if you're wondering why your phone quality, your video quality doesn't look that good, you're seeing, wow, I see people shooting and they're outside and it looks great on the phone, or they're inside and it looks fantastic. Phones need a lot of light. Yes. The sensors inside of your smartphone, it needs light. So that's why when you shoot outside, everything looks amazing. You come inside, you're using just your room light, it's going to add a bunch of grain to your footage. So if you're going to be inside, get a bunch of artificial light, or shoot next to an open window and let the sun come in, or shoot outside.
Great tip. Yeah, I do agree that natural lighting is the best. So if you can get really close to a window, you make the most of the camera that is on your phone. And if you're using artificial lighting, the one tip I would give you outside of lots of light is the same temperature bulbs. So make sure all of them are warm bulbs, or in this case, I think we're more on the bright white side of light. So I have to make sure all of them, because I used to, back in the day, I didn't understand this concept. So I just grabbed random lamps to create lighting for my wife's beautiful beauty videos. And it was, the camera was always adjusting because they didn't know what the white balance was. So that's a great tip. Second to light is sound. So I'd say the second accessory we should talk about is audio. Dee, what are your favorite audio, centric accessories? Obviously, microphones when it comes to mobile devices.
Okay, so I'm going to give you two options here. The first one is budget friendly, but it sounds great. And it's a microphone called the Boya BYM1 lavalier microphone. And what that is it's a little clip-on microphone. I know you've seen these before, where it will clip onto your shirt, or will clip onto a strap, or you can hide it underneath your shirt. It's around 17 or 18 US dollars, and it sounds amazing. I know a lot of YouTubers actually use this for all of their videos, so you're not going to go wrong with that. but it does come with a cable. Another option is a little microphone like this. This is the Video Mic Me. This is for Android. They make a Video Mic Me L for iOS users. And this just plugs right into your headphone jack or your lightning port, plugs right in, and it records audio. This actually sounds really, really good.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So audio. Keep in mind that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, just keep in mind that audio is 50% of the experience.
Yes.
So audio is important.
Absolutely. In fact, we've got the Video Mic Me right there. I also use it. Make sure if you have an iPhone, you get the one that's got the lightning insert, because it doesn't. There's no more headphone jack. But I have both of them because sometimes I'm working off somebody else's phone and they do have the jack, or maybe it's like another type of phone. You know, it's not iPhone, it's an Android or whatever. So I want to have that backup for myself. But I love how durable it is. I can put it in my pocket again, along with this. That's all I really need. And let's pull up another video. We're going to show it here in a second. Search IGTV versus YouTube video influencers. I want to show you a video that we shot off of a phone using this probably, and that microphone we're talking about, and how good the audio was, and show you how many views it got. Now, I'm not one to flex views. Like, I think like we put out all kinds of videos that get different amounts of views. The reason I want to show you this is to give you an example of a video, and let me know when you guys have it pulled up or you can show it on screen. I want to show you an example of a video that Sean and I shot to talk about the difference between IGTV and YouTube, right? And on here, it doesn't quite look as good, but it filmed in HD, right? In fact, this is the time when I told you to, remember when I told you about the Me Photo? This around that same time, Dee.
Yes.
And we shot this not only on the phone, but it was live. So we were broadcasting on top of it, right, to YouTube.
Okay.
And this is a video that got 40,000 views. So the reason I bring this up is because that was a phone. That wasn't our normal gear. We did have a whole bunch of lighting. You can bring it back over to me. But we use a whole bunch of lighting. There's some natural lighting, some artificial lighting, all the same, color temperature. And we were able to bang out that video live. It went on evergreen onto YouTube, and it's continued to get views and views. In fact, it still ranks for that. You can do the same thing too. And the way we did this was, number one, we knew what the phone was capable of, but we knew that the audio was something we had to make up for. So we put that Rode microphone for stability rather than somebody holding it, because again, you don't want to rely on someone's hands. I guess if you had a gimbal, that would work. But if you want stability, just put it on a tripod. And we use this little doohickey, the Me Photo 360. And in addition to that, we just prepped what we were going to say. So I know you mentioned going live. Did you want to dive into that now, or go through the accessories since we're on the topic of using your phone for live broadcasts?
Well, I think in terms of accessories, the things to just keep in mind is the audio is incredibly important, and you need something to hold your phone. I think if you use both of those, and you can use whatever lighting that you have at your disposal. The sun is the best natural light, and plus it looks good, especially if you're shooting in the shade, because it softens the light. You never want to shoot in really harsh lights. That's why if you ever see studio shots where they have like a softbox and there's like a white covering on it, that's diffusing the light and making it more pleasing on your skin. A cloudy day or the shade does the same thing with the sun. So I think in terms of accessories, I think you're good there, especially if you focus on getting good audio. If you want to dive into live streaming, look, it's the cat's out of the bag. Live streaming is the future, I believe. And especially now with LinkedIn, as soon as LinkedIn starts adding even more live streaming features and the general public can get in on it, you can live stream on YouTube, and you can do it with your phone. There's some amazing apps you can use for that. You can use Prism Live Studio. If you have under 1,000 subscribers, you still have to verify your channel, but you can live stream with Prism Live Studio or Streamlabs. Or if you're on an iOS device, you can use something like Switcher Studio. And you can have full functioning live streaming. And with something like Switcher Studio, you can even use multiple iPhones and switch them back and forth for different camera angles by using Switcher Studio.
And just to give you guys a little example, we're actually going live off of a mobile phone, iPhone right now. So let's switch to that view. This is me. Look, I don't know. It's a little bit slow, and that's just the internet connection. But look, this is pretty dope. I mean, this looks like a legit YouTube video to me.
Right.
If the phone was a little bit closer, but we got the background.
Right.
I mean, you can very well use a iPhone. So yeah, we're gonna move this closer. Again, the closer you get to your phone too, the better the content's gonna look. So I could basically run the whole broadcast right from here. This is a iPhone going live to YouTube, and because the lighting is on point, it probably looks way better than if the lighting wasn't on point. So that's just the internet connection. I just wanted to show you an example. But what are your other thoughts when it comes to live streaming or any other accessories you want to share before we move on?
Just about live streaming, how you're just showing the phone right there. My last 2 live streams, I had a problem with the camera that I was live streaming with. So the first time it went down, my phone wasn't prepared. It took me about 5 minutes, and I hooked it up through Streamlabs on the computer, and then I used my phone as a camera. It looked great. The second week, I was prepared and had the phone ready. So when I'm having a problem with the camera, I had it set on a switch. I hit the switch, boom, I had my iPhone set up. Didn't skip a beat. So even if you're not live streaming on a phone, it's great to learn how in case you need to use it as a backup. So take the time to learn how to live stream on your phone.
Absolutely. And on that note, want to give some quick shout outs to people on here. We've got some regulars. We got Mbu Gua. We got Sizzling Home Flavors, Journey to Wellness, Apple O, Brendan Walters. Thank you to the team for highlighting those people. And we've got Genesis and Hair Biz from Scratch are members of the Video Influencers Club. By the way, we're going to do a whole Q&A afterwards. If you're watching this, you get to watch the whole thing and ask questions. If you're watching the playback, you've got to be a member to see that. So consider joining our membership program where we've got all kinds of exclusives, all the Q&As, the full broadcast we put exclusively to you guys. Just click that join button, and ultimately you're supporting Sean and I. So I want to get into the next question for you, Dee. And I know that by the way, I keep wanting to call you Nick, but it's just if you guys don't know, go ahead.
It wouldn't be a conversation without it. Even our own mother. Even our own mother, Benji, mixes this up sometimes. And I know, we're just used to it.
I know that you guys aren't twins. The only reason I bring it up is because your whole setting and everything is kind of all very same vibe. But also, I feel like people might mistake you, and I don't want them to, because they should definitely go check out your channel. But you had a great challenge for people today, because a lot of people are watching. They are beginners when it comes to content creation. They're maybe wanting to start their channel, but they don't know how. And you had a challenge for them to get started. What is that so that people know?
Yeah. So first of all, if there's anybody in the chat right now, it looks like we have about 200 people. I'm looking right now that are watching. I know there's somebody in here right now who they're on the fence and they're trying to they're thinking about, what can I get started with? How can I make that first video? I know you have a phone. I challenge you, when this live stream is over, make that first video. It doesn't matter what it's about. I just want you to get into the habit of hitting that record button and publishing that video. I want you to make a video, publish it, and then tweet it to me. Tweet that video to me. I'm going to retweet it. I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to let everybody know it's your first video, and you're going to be surprised at the support you're going to get, because everybody who's on the platform, especially if they're succeeding on the platform, everybody is happy for other people to come on and start their YouTube journey. I want you to be part of this journey. So I challenge you right now, make your first video, upload it, tweet it to me, and I'm going to retweet it. And I want people to see that you're just starting your journey. And Benji, I don't know if you're going to retweet it as well, but I'll add you to the tweet.
Hey, you add me to the retweet, D. I will retweet it. And then Video Influencers also has their own account. We'll also, just as an opportunity. So, hey, this challenge also has a benefit if you are one of the videos that we decide to pick. And see, I love that you brought that up, because you could literally create a video. Hopefully it's a great video, by the way. You're going to probably pick something quality, right? But whatever it is, I'm telling you, you're so close to somebody retweeting it, the right person. And the only thing stopping you is you. I know that if you're watching this broadcast, most likely you're either on a computer, a desktop, a laptop, or your phone. And I bet money that most of you are listening to this on your phone, maybe not even watching the video, maybe because we go live every Saturday morning, that this is a part of your morning routine, that it's just sitting, right? Maybe on the counter while you're cooking breakfast, maybe in the bathroom while you're brushing your teeth, whatever. It's like a podcast, and you're that close. You're that close to uploading your first video and potentially getting retweeted. And I'm not talking about people like myself or even Dee. I'm talking about what if like a celebrity picks it up. You just don't know. What if it hits the algorithm just right? Yeah, and people share it out, hit like, and people like it, and you do it again.
You never
could
know.
be on your way to having subscribers, having a channel. Anything else you want to add to that before we get into our favorite apps on iPhone and just, devices generally?
Yeah, I want to say that every single creator on the platform, including the person who hasn't even uploaded their first video yet, you are one video away from changing your life. You're one video away from changing the trajectory of your life and starting a whole new career. So make that video and keep making videos. Don't stop. Don't ever quit. If you don't quit, you're not going to fail.
Boom. So I want to give some shout outs. Thank you guys for supporting us here on Video Influencers. We like to share with you our best tips, but better than that, we like to interview people like Dee and get their top tips. And we're going to dive into apps here in a second, but I appreciate the super chats because you're supporting the content in this community. Leanne, always such great advice. Thanks for having him on the show today. He gave $5. Thank you. And we got Tier Talk. You guys are doing great. You provide knowledge as well as motivation. May you have continued success. Your hard work is truly noted. I really appreciate it. And lastly, we got Twana. She says, this is amazing information. Thank you, guys. So thank you, Dee, for being on here and sharing your tips. So let's dive into our favorite apps. And do you want to get started with your first favorite app right now?
My first favorite app for YouTubers is obviously going to be the YT Studio app. This is the app you need to check your analytics, to answer your comments, to look at your click-through rate for your thumbnails. It's free. It's by YouTube. As a YouTuber, you need this app. So that's the first one. The second one is for making thumbnails. It's called Snapseed. Snapseed is a free app, and you can make basic thumbnails. So if you're just trying to figure out your thumbnail game, start with Snapseed. You can upgrade to other apps like Pixel Lab or PixArt in the future, but Snapseed is great for beginners, and it's a powerhouse of an app. Video editors, and by the way, that's available for both Android and iOS devices. Video editing apps, this is where things get a little bit different for Android and iPhone. For Android, check out KineMaster and Power Director. I think those are the two best pro-featured apps for Android. And on the iOS side, check out Video Leap or check out LumaFusion. And of course, iPhone also comes with your phone. So for video editing apps, those are my favorites. And for thumbnails, those are my favorites.
It's crazy that you mentioned Snapseed because I love Snapseed, but just for photos generally, I didn't know you can make thumbnails from them. So that is awesome. Yes, I totally agree with that.
I have a video on my channel where I show you how to use Snapseed to make a basic YouTube thumbnail. Looks pretty good.
Great reason for you guys to go check out Dee's channel. We'll put the link down below if it's not there already. But now I'm trying to find another app because I was going to mention Snapseed. One of my favorite apps right now is called Video Shop. And so Video Shop right here.
Video Shop is good, yeah.
Yeah, it lets you create vertical videos and edit. And so especially with the phone, I personally have not adopted the full-on vertical video creation, I guess, commitment. I do make vertical videos because I have Instagram, IG stories, as well as if I'm using Snapchat sometimes, but I know the significance of it. So Video Shop is definitely an app I would suggest because it lets you do that vertical video and you can do so many different things with it. Now the paid version is going to be much better and it's going to give you a lot more tools. So I would suggest that if you had to invest money in an app, there is the free version, which I used for a long time, but then I started getting into the more advanced stuff. And again, you don't even need a computer anymore. If you take that and you have some best practices for filming, it's stable, you've got lots of lighting, you could be on your way to creating videos for your YouTube channel, for any platform with your phone. So any other apps that you like, because you're stealing all my apps away.
In terms of camera apps, because a lot of phones, especially a lot of the older phones, they don't come with manual controls. I love the Filmic Pro app. It's a camera app.
Totally.
That's a fantastic app. And there's another one called Moment. I always get it backwards. It's either Moment Camera Pro or Moment Pro Camera. It's the same company that makes the wide angle lens. It's a great camera app as well. So those are fantastic. And we already talked about live streaming apps. So yeah, in terms of apps, and by the way, I do want to say, if you do have a newer if you do have a newer iPhone, one of the 11s, and I think you can do it with a 10 as well. The same people who make Filmic Pro just came out with an app called Double Take, where it will record multiple cameras in your phone at the same time. So it will record from the back camera,
That's
the front
crazy,
camera.
yeah.
I believe you can choose 2 or 3 at once and record them at the same time and then edit them together later. Insane.
Seriously, you and I, if we hung out, our phones would look the exact same. We're using the same apps to create. I'm not kidding you. Like all those apps you mentioned, I already have on my phone.
Yeah.
And even that last one, I don't have that, but David Foster told me about how it can record in the front and the back, which I'm interested to see what people do with it. Again, wanted to give a shout out to Journey to Wellness. Thank you for the super chat. Quick question. They say, what's the best color temperature to use? I know I need to have a CRI of 90 plus, 5000 K is supposed to mimic sunlight, but it just looks blue to me. So my suggestion for temperature, I heard this is what people say is the most balance. That's the between warm and totally bright is 4700 Kelvin. That's what we're using here. And that's just what I committed to and I feel looks good. And so I'm a vlogger, so I have to think about different lighting settings and from room to room, from outside to inside. And I find that when I light 4700, it's the great balance. Now at night, so I also think about the setting or the time of day. At night, I switch all my lights to a more warmer, like I'd say like 3900 or maybe 4000 to give it that, like this is an evening feel. What are your thoughts on that question, Dee, in terms of lighting?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would also experiment based on your skin tone, because everybody has, a little bit of a different tone on their skin, and you might find that you want to go a little higher or go a little bit lower to get a natural look that you want. Or if you're trying to go on more of the saturated end, then you might want to lower that even more. Depends on, it's a creative choice. It also depends on your skin tone, but everything else, yeah, I agree with.
Awesome. And then the last super chat I want to thank is L. Jeffy says, I make 6 to 8 thumbnails for each video. A/B testing is key. Snapseed definitely helps speed up my workflow. So I agree with that. And I love that you brought up the workflow. And so I guess we're near the end. We're going to talk about a couple more tips that we have for you guys, but that workflow is so key. Just think, we talked about some pretty dope accessories, but don't forget about all the things that makes this powerful, this phone, outside of the camera, is the workflow, that you have the editor on there and you have your footage that you recorded right on your phone, so it's easy to upload. These apps make it so easy. Versus when you have a camera like this, say your SD card malfunctions or you forget to put it in or the audio wasn't working. I mean, none of that happens with this. Now, I will suggest you test everything. So when we go live, in fact, even today we did it, you still want to test everything because you just never know with technology. But I find you have a lot less issues with your phone than you do other devices because it's all just one piece. So consider that, because even when you are creating your thumbnails after you created your video, it's all there on your phone. It's easy to upload. The YouTube app, we talked about our favorite apps and YouTube Studio being one of them. Don't forget the YouTube app, generally speaking, is amazing. You can upload videos, obviously. You can go live. You can also post to your community tab. You can do all of that right there. And there's a lot of functions even on there. Anything else you want to add to why people are discounting and maybe like not really appreciating what they have in their hand, Dee?
Okay, so I want to ask people in the chat right now, how busy are you? I know a lot of you have families, you have a job, some of you work 2 jobs, some of you have children. If you are busy and you're thinking, I don't have enough time, how am I going to find time to be a YouTuber? Type in yes in the chat right now. I'm curious to see how many people are just maxed out in terms of their time. Because the big difference between a smartphone and a normal camera is that when you shoot in a camera, you're going to have to take that footage. You're going to have to sit down at a computer or a laptop. You're going to have to plug in your SD card or transfer the footage over. You're going to have to fire up the software, edit, hope it doesn't crash. And it's a process. But when you're doing it from your phone, You can edit your video while you're sitting in the back of an Uber or riding the bus or sitting on the subway or sitting at the airport waiting for your plane to board. You can do all of this on your phone. You don't have to have a computer. You don't have to have anything. There's no excuse. Like sitting on the toilet. You know what I mean? Like this allows you, this frees up your time. You can, all those times where you didn't have your computer, you now have your computer and it's in your pocket. So take advantage of that if you are strapped for time.
Totally. And just wanted to quickly share Dee Nimmin channel down below in the description. Check it out if you guys are interested in utilizing your smartphone to create content. His whole channel is all about that. And if you guys are interested in YouTube, starting a channel, crushing it, getting subscribers, getting views, and making this a platform for your business or becoming a YouTuber yourself, make sure you pick up a copy of YouTube Secrets. We got the link down below. You can actually go to tubesecretsbook.com or go to Amazon. It's on audiobook at Audible. So check it out. This has everything. Hey, thank you so much, Dee. Dee and Nick both do such an amazing job sharing the thing. Could you speak to why you like it? Have you read it, or like why do you guys share it?
We share it because we want to give back to people who are giving so much. You guys do so much, both of you, and you give so much to the community and you share so much information. And we want to give back to people who are doing that. I'm about halfway, maybe halfway through it.
Appreciate
but
it.
Yeah, I mean, we want to give back to people who are giving, and that's all you guys do.
And that's the whole purpose of that book. You know, I've been on this platform for a decade now, both with Sean as well as my wife. I've created content with so many different creators, and I know how challenging it is. So we're talking about smartphones today, but just YouTube generally, especially if you want to make it a full-time thing and create an income and live off of it. So we wrote this. It took 4 years to do it, but it's got 20 years of combined knowledge on specifically YouTube. So even if you're a smartphone creator, you can learn a lot from this, because we're not really talking tech. These are principles to help you crush it on YouTube, to get those views, to build that influence, to make an impact with online videos on YouTube. And a lot of those principles actually translate to other platforms too. So we're about to wrap it up and then go into Q&A for those of you that are watching this from the members only or right now. Dee, what's your last thoughts before we let people go when it comes to creating content and why they can literally start today and nothing should be holding them back?
My last thought is to hit that record button. As soon as this live stream is finished, I want you to hit that record button and make your first video. The first video is the hardest video. I believe Sean says your first video is your worst video. I believe I heard him say that before. And it's true, but you're not going to get to where you want to go unless you make that first video and then make that second video. And you can do that with your phone. Don't wait. Don't wait to get the expensive gear. Don't wait to get the microphone. Don't wait to get the gear we talked about. If all you have is your phone and no microphone, this is good enough. This is good enough to get started with. And I urge you, on my channel, I help mobile content creators succeed on YouTube. Under the surface, I want to encourage people to start with what they have. That's really what my channel is about at the core, is just encouraging people and giving people the confidence to make content with their phone.
Absolutely. And if you guys are just checking this out right now, make sure you go check out Dee's channel down below, and make sure you pick up a copy of YouTube Secrets and let us know in the comments below, what phone are you using to create content? iPhone, Android, Huawei, whatever it might be. If you want to see our whole playlist specifically for people creating content on mobile phones, click or tap the screen right here. If you want to see more videos and interviews like this, click or tap the screen right here.